Today I want to talk about a good Etsy seller versus a bad Etsy seller. We're going to design the perfect Etsy seller so that you can learn and you can be a good Etsy seller. You can be this Etsy seller, which is good and happy, or you can be this Etsy seller, which is sad and unhappy. And usually we associate good with sales, traffic, bad, no sales, no traffic, sad. So in order to, and there are vast differences. So I want to compare and contrast the two. Wherever you're at in your journey, no one's perfect, right? So even if a lot of these you're like, I'm going through them, you're like, oh man, I'm a bad Etsy seller. That doesn't matter. That makes no difference because you can make the decision to learn by watching this, improve, and change the trajectory of what you're doing. And then you're not going to be a bad Etsy seller anymore. So it doesn't matter. You got to start somewhere. I was hot garbage when I started. I didn't know what I was doing. I was floundering. I was lost, so that's why I'm doing this, so that you cannot be like me and you can learn a lot faster, implement what you learn in your shop, grow, improve, get more sales, get more traffic, because there is a correlation between how much you learn and know and take a proactive approach to that, and those that are stay the same, stay consistently bad. All right, so let's dive into this. Number one, the first thing that separates the two is, of course, product quality. I'm actually writing pretty good today. It doesn't look like gibberish for once. So, product quality. So, if you're a good Etsy seller, you offer high quality products. You're concerned with quality. You're not concerned with the lowest cost stuff, the cheapest stuff. Now, granted, you have to take that into account with your profit margin. You have to know what your profit margin is, and you have to buy stuff responsibly, but that doesn't mean you got to buy the cheapest stuff out there. You can buy more expensive stuff and pay for, charge people more, but then you just have to justify why you're doing that in your description, in your pictures, in your listing. Justify the value proposition for the customer as like, okay, this is more expensive, but here is why this is more expensive. Like in my industry, my main shop is graphic tees. There's a lot of people that sell 100% Gildan traffic, or not traffic, 100% Gildan shirts. And I don't know if you've ever worn one of those, but they're heavy, they're not comfortable. It's like it's like having sandpaper on. I hate it. I don't wear them, so I'm not going to offer those to my customers. I don't sell them. They're vastly cheaper. They're probably like half the cost, probably more than half the cost of the shirts that I use. But I don't want that. So I spend more money, then I justify it. I tell them, okay, these are the softest shirts. These are not like sandpaper. These are something that you're gonna want. They're gonna last. They're gonna hold up. They're not gonna fall apart. You know what I mean? So those are the things. You got to justify it with your value proposition. So that is important. All right, number two is customer service. Really important, right? With any business, customer service is important. But if you want to be a bad Etsy seller, you're going to have crappy customer service. And think about your experiences. You all remember the time where you received terrible customer service, and chances are you probably told someone about it. You know what I mean? A lot of times we have good service and it's okay, this is expected. We are expected to receive good service, and we don't go around telling people. It may get us some extra referrals and whatever, but you're certainly upping the chances that someone's going to tell someone else that you have bad customer service or a bad experience. So make sure you have good customer service, especially out of the gate, where reviews are important always, but especially initially when you have no reviews. If you start off with a bad review and that's your first review, that's not good. Etsy doesn't like that. Your future customers don't like that. It's not a good place to be. So make sure you're responding to messages fast, asking for reviews, making sure you're doing everything possible to get good reviews, resolving issues fast. That's a bad way, or that's an easy way to get bad reviews. If there's an issue, there's a problem, people understand that you're human. You're gonna make mistakes, and you can apologize and explain that to them, and then resolve the issue. But if you don't apologize, don't explain, and then don't resolve the issue, you're getting a bad review. That's just the matter of the fact. People don't like that, but they will understand if you made a mistake. Go above and beyond to make it right. Do a little bit extra, even if it costs you more money. this is what you have to do. So make sure that you're going that little bit of extra just to avoid a bad review, because it's important. It really does matter. It helps with SEO. Future customers see that. Reviews are everything. Customer service is very important. And if selling online, e-commerce, anywhere you sell, you're gonna have to deal with this. So it's important to get ahead of it now. If you don't like it, then you don't sell online, because you're gonna have to deal with people and mistakes and bad reviews. All right, number 3 is gonna be product listings. This is kind of an obvious one. Oh, my writing's starting to go downhill. I guess my hand's getting tired already. I don't really write a lot anymore. I do a lot more typing, as you guys probably do the same. So product listings. So a good seller has good product listings. You know what I mean? They take the extra time. So a lot of people look at product listings like a means to an end. It's like I designed my item, I made my item, now I'm ready to sell it. I just want to get it sold, so I don't really care about the product listing. It's kind of like an afterthought, and that's not the way that it should be. Your product listing is literally the most important part of selling anywhere. Etsy, Shopify, Amazon, eBay, wherever you sell, the product listing is the most important. You have to take the extra time to find the appropriate keywords, to do keyword research, to take good photos, high quality photos, not bad photos, not dark photos, and take a lot of them. There's 10 photo spots. There's an entire title space of 160 characters. There's 13 tags and then a whole description. Take the time to do it right out of the gate. Because if you throw mud against the wall and you just put up a half-ass listing, it's not going to perform. And then where you're at, where do you go from there? You can try and bring it back and adjust it, but it's creating more work. You should have just did that work on the forefront. You know what I mean? So all those factors come into play, and you put up 10 garbage listings, your shop's not going to do good. The algorithm's going to see that people aren't clicking on your stuff. It's going to rank you back, and then it's going to be hard when you decide to start doing good listings. It's going to be hard for it to perform because you gave the algorithm all that bad data to start with. So come out of the gate doing the best that you possibly can. Are you going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But you can still at least put in a little bit more time and at least be better than you would have been if you were half-assing it. So that makes a big difference. Pictures are a big one. Look at your competition's pictures. Look at everyone else's pictures. If yours don't look like them, and yours are worse than them, don't take your ego out of it. Even if you can't just say I don't know how to take pictures. Learn. It's all about lighting usually. So take better pictures, compare with your competitors, and test. Can I get mine close to them? Am I going to be perfect out of the gate? No, but I can at least get closer. If my stuff doesn't look like them, then I have to take a step back. Okay, test more, move the lighting around, use a light box, use umbrella lights, use ring lights. Most of the problem with pictures is lighting or a poor camera where there's not enough pixels. It looks fuzzy, it's not high quality. So play around with it, but product listings, make sure you're taking the extra time to start off on the right foot. All right, number 4 is going to be branding. This is another thing that people skimp on. So the good shops and people that have a lot of sales, they have a banner image, they have a logo. Their pictures look consistent, their color scheme's consistent. So think about the big box stores, the big companies, the big brands out there. When you look at their website, everything flows together. Everything is meshed together cohesively. So think about your stuff the same way. If you don't have a logo, you don't have a banner image, your pictures the backgrounds are all different colors and it just looks kind of like a yard sale, that's not the way that you should go. So pick 3 colors at most, come up with a clean logo, which you can design in Canva, and then use the banner image to showcase some of your products, your best sellers, your new products, or your seasonal products. This is a good place to start. And make sure just everything looks cohesive. Your brand is clean, your logo is clean, not messy. Think of Apple, think of Target, think of all the big brand logos out there. They don't have 1,000 words. They don't have dark backgrounds. They're not hard to see. A lot of people try to cram stuff in there. So just make sure your branding is cohesive, your shop looks good, and it's complete. Your branding is complete, your shop is complete, because that will separate you from the bad sellers and the good sellers. Helps build trust with your buyers. If you go to a shop that has banner image, they have a brand, they have cohesive pictures, their color scheme looks good, and then you go to a shop that has no logo, no branding, no banner image, their pictures, their pictures are all kinds of different colors. Which one are you gonna, even if they have like similar products, which one would you rather shop at? The one that looks cohesive, the one that looks complete, that builds trust with buyers just by the look and feel of it. So again, take the extra time, come up with your brand, come up with your color palette, and set everything else up accordingly. Especially this translates to social media as well. If you're scrolling through like Instagram, look at the good people have a lot of followers on Instagram. All their pictures, all their stuff looks similar. It's clean, it flows. They don't have pink and then black and then red and then yellow. It doesn't make any sense and it doesn't look good. The human eye doesn't like that. So everything flows, everything should be complete. So branding is important. So take the extra time initially to set up good branding. All right, number 5 is gonna be inventory management. All right, so inventory is important because you need to make sure that you have stuff in stock. It's organized. So a lot of people aren't organized enough. So especially if you're making your own stuff, set up bins, organize your stuff so you know where everything is at. And I made this mistake too. With graphic design, screen printing, for the longest time, I have hundreds and hundreds of screens, right? Each have different designs on them. Some have multiple designs on one screen. For the longest time, I didn't have my screens in alphabetical order. So I'd be searching every time for every single screen. A lot of times I learned kind of where stuff was at, but I was wasting extra time because I didn't know where the stuff was at. I was spending an extra couple of minutes, per order, which added up. And I did this for years. What a dum-dum I was. And then I alphabetically organized it and I could move so much faster. You know what I mean? So this kind of goes back, organization skills, inventory management, make sure you have the right stuff, because if you get an order and you don't have the supplies and you got to order the supplies, it adds extra time, extra lead time to fulfill that order, and then people are getting stuff late, and that is the easiest road to get bad reviews. Stuff late shipments, stuff outside of the guidelines that they expected. When someone orders, Etsy gives them an estimated time frame according to the shipping time frame and according to the processing times that you have set. So if you're going beyond that, people are going to start to get pissed. So make sure that your inventory is organized and you have enough of it, especially coming up here on the holidays. This is really, really important to make sure that you are prepared and stocked, because a lot of times what happens too is everyone's busy around the holidays. So your supplier may run out and then you're screwed. You got to find either another supplier or you got to pivot and ask the customer for some modification according to what you have in stock, which sucks. That's not a good place to be. I've had that happen. During COVID, that actually happened a lot. We were running out of supplies a lot. So I had to pivot a lot, which is stressful, added stress, and it sucks. So make sure that you're prepared in that way, and it's always a good habit to get into when it comes to inventory management. Real quick, I have to mention this. The Etsy games are here and live. What are the Etsy games? Glad you asked. Well, they are a way for you to learn, improve your Etsy business, and have a ton of fun along the way, and win prizes, cash prizes, and swag. So you're a part of an amazing community that was all working towards the same goal, with help and support from me to grow your business along the way. And the best part is it's completely free. I wanted to come up with a fun way for us to be able to work together and grow your business and learn, so it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like such of a grind. And this is the best way that I've found to be able to do this. So you can join below, 100% free. Come learn, get resources, get a community, get courses to grow your business, so we can work together and have fun along the way. There's a link below in the description, in the show notes. See you guys on the other side. All right, so I need to make some more room here as we continue separating bad from good Etsy sellers. Number 6 is going to be pricing strategy. So, pricing products strategically is important. And a lot of people get this wrong because they think they have to have, usually it's the cheapest, you know what I mean? They think they go the cheapest route. They look at their competition and they go super cheap. And that is a race to the bottom. You can charge middle of the ground pricing or even higher pricing, like I talked about earlier. You just have to justify it with your value proposition, why you're charging that. Regardless, you should do this, even if you have lower price stuff, because it helps build value and trust in your products. But if you're not doing it and you're just pricing stuff low, it just looks cheap. Like you go to the Dollar Tree, you know, walking in there, I'm not gonna find high quality stuff. I'm gonna find super cheap stuff that's throwaway items that I just need to use like one time. You know what I mean? I don't go in there to expect to buy something that I'm gonna use over and over again. So people associate cheap or low cost with cheap. So make sure you're doing your research. You should be researching your niche, your competition, see what the prices are. Obviously know your profit margin. Make sure you're trying to get stuff wholesale so you can keep your prices lower. But again, if you offer higher quality stuff, if you offer a little spin, you're tweaking stuff to make it higher quality with better materials, you're doing stuff that your competition isn't offering, then come in high. Come in, be the leader in that space. Be the higher cost in that space. Think of Apple. They're the most expensive, they have the most expensive stuff, the most expensive phones, the most expensive computers, but people know what they're getting. They know they can resell that stuff at a high price. They know it holds its value and they know the quality is there. And you can do the same thing with your company. You just have to justify it with how you're value propositioning it to your customers. So make sure you come in with a strong pricing strategy. You can test your pricing strategy. Obviously, you test it with, free shipping or lower cost shipping or free shipping incentive that plays into it. And those are all things that you can kind of test out. All right, number 7. This is going to be marketing. All right, so if you want to be a really good Etsy seller, you have to embrace marketing. And this means embrace it inside of Etsy, marketing with doing that keyword research, looking at your competition, playing around with different strategies such as pricing. But you also have to embrace it outside of Etsy with social media. Make sure you're implementing some social media marketing, doing email marketing. Maybe you're trying some ads, some Etsy ads inside of. So you have to use those different levers and test those different levers. You don't have to do everything at once, right? If you're a newer Etsy seller, you don't want to do everything at once. But you add in those buckets as you go. That will continuously help you learn and help you grow your shop. If you're maintaining status quo and not doing anything, completely closed off to trying anything, then you are going to maintain status quo. It's hard to grow if you refuse to do anything, if you refuse to step outside of your box and learn these things, because you're not going to know it out of the gate. You have to try it, fail, learn, try again, fail, learn, try again, get some success, try again, get a lot of success, try again, fail. This is the evolution of business. But the really good Etsy shops have good marketing, and they have people that actually try different things with different channels. There's a lot of different ways to get more traffic to your shop. And marketing is one of those big ways to get more traffic. With more traffic usually comes more sales, more data that you can learn from, more things that you can kind of look at to make decisions from that data. So it all kind of snowballs into a lot of different resources for you to be able to use. All right, number 8. We're just going to put adapt here. It's adapt and learning. Big problem, I think, for not only Etsy sellers, but a lot of people that kind of start business, especially with online, is they don't like change. Especially if you come in and you have success right out of the gate, it's not going to last forever. Especially if you're not willing to make change and test things and try things, because it doesn't last. And you see that, a lot of the old sellers aren't having success now, and they're blaming it on the platform. Well, the platform has changed, right? But there's still plenty of people that make a lot of money on Etsy, plenty of people that make a lot of money on eBay, Shopify, Amazon. No matter where you go, there's a lot of successful people. You can blame, the people that aren't successful usually do. They'll blame like, eBay doesn't work anymore. Etsy doesn't work anymore. I'm going to go here. You know what I mean? Those platforms all change. Etsy has changed. The difference between the good Etsy sellers and the bad ones are those that have continued to learn and adapt and grow and embrace the changes. You may not always like the changes, but you have to at least take the opportunity to learn what has changed and how you can kind of tweak it to your benefit. Because things, especially online, will never stay the same. It will always change regardless. Business, you'll always have things that change, new regulations, new new everything all the time, whether you have a brick and mortar or you have an e-commerce business. So if you don't like changes and you don't like trying to leverage those to your benefit, you probably shouldn't be in business. I mean, you probably shouldn't, because it's going to be constant. But even think about it, even if you're in a job, right? No matter what job you're in, there's always change. There's new policies, there's new bosses, there's new employees. So the same thing, it's everywhere. So I think it's easiest for us to step back and be like, well, we're gonna blame it on this one thing or this other thing. When realistically what we should be doing is pointing the finger back at us and buckling down, seeing how we can leverage those changes to our benefit. It's just about problem solving. I say this all the time, entrepreneurs are just problem solvers. The better entrepreneurs are better problem solvers. So think about the problem, how you can leverage it to your advantage, learn, grow, improve, and learn from your failures. All right, so number 9 is going to be attention to detail. So I think this one is a really important one. I think it's easy for us to kind of lose sight of what matters, what's important, paying attention to the details. Especially as you grow, I think it's harder for us to kind of pay attention to the things that matter. So it's like, how is your stuff getting packaged? What are there any errors in your listings? Are you kind of are you starting to half-ass things and not do your SEO research, not taking as high quality pictures? Different things like that. Maybe you're not responding to customers like you used to immediately. Maybe you're not responding to every single review anymore. So things like that, it's kind of a mixed bag of attention to detail matters, especially when it comes to customers. So make sure you're not slacking at the beginning, or as you grow, those details still matter just as they did. And if you lose focus of that, it's going to start hindering your business. So I think that's really, really important. All right, and that brings us to number 10, last but not least, and this is a big one, time management. So time management is important to make sure that everyone's busy, right? We all have families, we have kids, pets, events going on. Life is always going to get into the way. The difference between the good ones, the good sellers, and the bad, or people cut out blocks of time and they plan their day accordingly. And I've talked about this before. What I like to do is plan my day before the tasks I need to do the next day. I write them down and then I check them off the next day. Helps me stay organized and focused. Especially when you leave your corporate job, you have to make your calendar for yourself. You have to make those decisions based on yourself. Before, the company did it, your boss did it for you. So in a way, it's kind of nice. You took all the thinking out of it. Your calendar was blocked up. But when you do business full-time, you become a full-time entrepreneur, that's on you. You wake up and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? There's a million things I should do or I have to do. What do I do? What are the most important things that I have to do? So it creates a lot of chaos and frustration. So time management really is important, even if you have little time. If you're blocking it out and you're making those blocks of time where you're working on your business, you can make a lot of gains with little time. I used to work on my lunch break. I used to work on my 15-minute breaks really quick. You could do things strategically. I used to work before work, after work, but I would plan those things out. It doesn't mean you got to spend a lot of time away from your family. I always hear that excuse. No, block your time. You put your kids to bed, you work for an hour on your business, and then you go to bed, or you get up an hour before your kids get up for work, or before you get up for work. I mean, even if you have a half hour, 20 minutes a day, that stuff adds up. 20 minutes a day adds up to multiple hours a week. Is it 2.5 hours a week or something like that? That's a lot of time. So that you just have to block out those time blocks and be strategic with your limited amount of time. Everyone has the same amount of hours in a day. So there's a lot of people that are successful with the same amount of hours in a day. So that's what you always have to think about. And I know people are like, well, those people have help. They have people to help them. Well, they didn't always have that. They had to start somewhere. So they sacrificed their time to get where they're at now. And you can do the same thing. But those are the top 10 things that separate a good Etsy seller from a bad Etsy seller, a good e-commerce business person from a bad e-commerce business person. So wherever you're at now in your journey, just start to leverage these things that I talked about today. Think about how you can improve each and every day to get where you want to be. I think that is the most important thing, the most important takeaway, from this video today. And also, please join the Etsy games. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be in there. We're gonna be sharing wins. We're gonna be getting prizes. We're gonna be learning, and it's a great, fun way to grow your business. I couldn't think of a more fun way to do it, because it is a grind, but if we're having fun together, we're communicating, we're celebrating wins, and we're creating this positive atmosphere, I mean, amazing things could happen. See you guys inside. That's it for today's video.